Good afternoon, and welcome to the Osher Lifelong Learning Institute at Berkshire Community College. We are a community of over 1,500 people committed to learning and having fun together. We offer 5 semesters of peer-led courses each year, taught by volunteer instructors, and additionally offer scores of events, speakers, and programs to connect the members of our OLLI community with each other and the world. All our programs are volunteer-driven. I am Carol Allman-Morton, the Executive Director of OLLI at BCC, and I'm so glad to be part of this community. It's almost today is exactly 1 year that I've been your Executive Director. Let me just see where I'm at. I got distracted. Anyway, right, we are here to talk about Summer 2. I'm so delighted. I'm going to put in the chat in case folks want to follow along, and then also so that you can sign up when you're ready. Here is the link to the Summer 2 catalog. I just want to plug a few things. In addition to courses, we have a number of special interest groups that members are welcome to join in. And I'm going to put the link to those special interest groups, or SIGs, in the chat. Each of those groups has a number of special events, lectures, and programs on their own. We have a number of events coming up in the next few weeks in between. Well, Summer 1 is finishing up. And so we have some stuff coming up in addition to that, and a few things that are going to be in this time in between semesters. We have 3 OLLI Distinguished Speaker Series programs in the next few weeks. And you can get links to them at berkshireolli.org/events. The first is Opening the Infrared Treasure Chest with the James Webb Space Telescope with Dr. John Mather on Wednesday, June 21st at 7 p.m. on Zoom. Dr. Mather is a senior astrophysicist and the senior project scientist for the James Webb Space Telescope at NASA's Goddard Space Flight Center. It's going to be an amazing program. Our old friend Jeremy Yudkin returns, speaking about the greatest classical string quartets on Saturday, June 24th at 4 p.m. That's in person at Lenox Town Hall. And on June 26th, that's a Monday at 7 p.m. on Zoom, we have Letty Cotton-Pogrobin speaking on a journey of discovery and truth-telling with Anastasia Stanmeyer, editor of Berkshire Magazine, in conversation with Letty, who is a writer, activist, and co-founding editor of Ms. Magazine, about her new book, Shanda, A Memoir of Shame and Secrecy. In addition to the Distinguished Speaker Series, we have a concert coming. Edwin Barker, Boston Symphony Orchestra principal bassist, is offering a double bass recital on Friday, June 30th, at 1 p.m. in person at Duffin Theater at Lenox Memorial Middle and High School. He'll have with him guest Deborah DeWolf Emery on piano and Ann Trout on period double bass. It's an amazing treat. Tickets are only $10 for OLLI members. I encourage you to come if you are able. We have a free and open to the public hybrid talk, both Zoom and in person, called Memoir of a Female Soldier with Steve Nelson. That's Tuesday, July 11th at 7 p.m. at BCC and also on Zoom, and that is offered in partnership with the Lenox Historical Society. The story of Deborah Sampson, who is a young woman from Massachusetts who donned men's clothing to enlist in the Revolutionary War. It's a true story, but a novelization of her life. And that is what we have. Oh, right, and there's a few more workshops in the pipeline for the summer, so keep an eye out for those. But you are here to learn about what our wonderful instructors have in store for the Summer 2 semester. So I'm going to give each of our instructors an opportunity to share a brief introduction to their courses and to help you get excited about what to sign up for this semester. If you have questions for folks as we go, you're welcome to share them in the chat. And I'm going to put the link one more time to the schedule. And I want to thank Steve Tobin, Len Tabbs, Mel Wasserman, Susan Sacker, and Shireen Nash for helping plan this wonderful Summer 2 program. All right, and speaking of, I'm going to turn it over to Steve Tobin to talk about the first class.
Good morning or good afternoon, everybody, sorry. And the first class we're going to talk about is today's headline, which I'll be the moderator of this semester. Today's headlines is your opportunity to give your opinion on any of the topics that are prescient today in today's headlines. We deal with politics, many other subjects, and it's a very popular class. We've been running it consistently for many years now, and we look forward to having you. It is on Zoom, so you'll have an opportunity to be interactive. We communicate with you regularly, and we look forward to having you. Thank you, Carol.
Wonderful. Next up, we have Anastasia Stanmeyer.
Hi, I am teaching a class that's called Berkshire Magazine in Conversation with our directors, our new directors in the Berkshires, or some of them at least. And it stretches from on Mondays from July 17th to August 21st. And on the roster is Berkshire Museum's Kimberly Bush Tomio, Chester Theater's James Barry and Tara Franklin, Barrington Stage's Alan Paul, Hancock Shaker Village's Nat Silver, Ventford Hall's Wendy Healy, and Mass Mocha's Christy Edmonds. It's going to be a lively, interesting conversation, and you're welcome to ask questions. And I really look forward to being in dialogue with them. And I will be, this is by Zoom, but I will be in dialogue with them in person, individually.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. Next up is John Dixon to talk about 2 classes. So thank you, John.
Thank you very much. Hello, everybody. I'm going to be doing 2 classes, only one of which I really consider a class. The other I consider fun. The one I consider fun is exploring Pittsfield State Forest. This filled up very quickly last year, and so there was interest in people, other people who wanted to do this again. I think a couple of people are going to be repeats. Anybody who's been to Pittsfield State Forest knows that it's very confusing. There are a lot of different trails. In fact, there are trails that the State Forest has put in. There are trails that a biking group, a mountain biking group has put in. They overlap. And my goal last year was to help people manage their way through the Pittsfield State Forest without getting lost. I wasn't very successful. And so this year I'm going to give it, and Anne's laughing because she was on it. I gave up after one hike, but this year I'm going to do it a little differently. I'm going to actually give people maps and routes so that they can follow and come back on their own. It's a wonderful place. It's very underutilized as a state forest and as a walking place. I go there every Wednesday, and very rarely do we encounter another person. We did encounter a bear a few weeks back, but it ran away before, and we ran away too, I should say. So there are a lot of options to turn around and not get in each other's way. Anyway, so that's my hope for Pittsfield State Forest. It is not Pittsfield State Forest is 1,400 feet in elevation, and so but you can drive to the top. And so my goal is we're not going to be doing much elevation. We're not going to walk all the way to the top, but we can walk around the top of the state forest and then around the lower level, and hopefully as well to another part of state forest is Balance Rock, which is another fairly level place to walk. Somebody asked if it's buggy. It can be. It depends on the weather that day. But we actually ran in pretty good last year when we did this in July. We didn't have much issues with bug, and I don't remember if you remember any bugs. But I bring spray every week just for ticks and otherwise, and also a little a health kit. My goal for the hiking is no hospitals, no headlines, and so that's the hiking on Wednesdays, or on Tuesdays at 10. Nothing is 90 minutes to 2 hours at the max, and we go at a very leisurely pace, I think. Although sometimes people like Anne in the past have had to rein me back because I get excited and move ahead. Anyway, that's the Tuesday class. On Thursdays, I'm doing part 2 of the Great Decisions class. This is a foreign affairs discussion class. Great Decisions is run by the Foreign Policy Institute, a Foreign Policy Association. It offers a curriculum of reading material and videos, and people around the country present the curriculum to classes at college, high school, also at different world affairs and at OLLIs around the country. This is a 90-minute class. I give a short presentation. We listen to and watch the video that the Foreign Policy Association gives us, and then we discuss. And the point of this is to make foreign policy accessible to all. And we discuss what the options are, what the options should be for the United States as we look beyond our borders and interact with the rest of the world. Each week we have a different topic. In summer 2, we're going to be addressing 5 different topics in this order: politics in Latin America, global famine, Iran at a crossroads, climate migration, and the Biden agenda. One of the people on this call who's been in the class used to say this was the most depressing class she ever takes because these are tough issues. And if they were easy to resolve or manage, they wouldn't be in the curriculum. So, but it is a good point for informing yourself about the challenges we face as a nation in interacting with the rest of the world. That's on Thursdays at 10. And that is on Zoom as well. Thank you very much.
Thank you, John. Next up is Elaine Sohn.
Hi, my name is Elaine Sohn, and I'm calling in from Brooklyn because that's where I teach folk dancing during the year. But for the summer, I'll be up in the Berkshires introducing folk dancing to those that live there. And this is the 3rd summer we're doing folk dancing. Summer 21, we were at the Mount. Summer 22 at Simon's Rock. And this year we will be at BCC in Pittsfield. A gym is a great place to have a folk dance class. It's cool and it's comfortable and it's large. So what is international folk dancing? Dances from lots of different countries, and some of those countries are Greece, Israel, Bulgaria, Romania, Serbia, the Ukraine, Macedonia. We'll be doing a South African dance. We'll probably be doing a French dance or 2, and even some American line dances. So the class will be very varied with dances from around the world. Obviously, the similarities are few. The differences are great among all of these dances. The rhythms will be different. The instruments will be different. And we'll be talking about all of that as we learn the dances. The class unfortunately meets at the same time the hiking group meets. So for outdoor or for exercise, you have to choose between hiking in Pittsfield or dancing in the gym. It's 10 o'clock on Tuesdays. If you're curious, this is about these countries and about dances from these countries. You should join us. Do you need a partner? No. Do you need comfortable shoes? Yes. Should you bring some water? Yes. And keep in mind, we will keep the repertoire limited. I got some feedback last year that we learned so much that one forgets some of the things we learned. So we will focus on fewer and review everything we do each week and learn new dances at the same time. At the end of each class, I will be sending out videos of other groups doing the dances that we just learned. So for anyone who is curious and motivated, they can practice between our classes during the week. Why should you join this class? Number 1, it's great exercise for the body. Just imagine how many calories you can burn in an hour and a half. It's great exercise for the mind. Learning steps and directions. You're constantly thinking, is it quick, slow, slow? Is it slow, quick, quick? Is it quick, quick, slow, slow? Different patterns will arise in all of the dances we do. So your brain will be working. And of course, it's fun. Guaranteed. I guarantee you'll have a good time. And for anyone who says they have 2 left feet, I take on your challenge. Bring them and I will help you find your right foot. So this class will meet on Tuesdays at 10 o'clock at BCC. I look forward to meeting you. Thank you.
Thank you, Elaine. Next, we have two friends. We have Ann Berman and Ron Strickland.
Go ahead, Ann. Go ahead, Ann.
Hi. Hi. So I'm Ann Berman, and Ron and I are going to be teaching a class on Shakespeare's comedy Midsummer Night's Dream. It's a wonderful play full of magic and love, and we'll be taking 5 sessions to explore the 5 acts of the play on the page and on the stage. Ron will be talking about the historical context, about Roman and sitting comedies, links to other works, analyzing the language and the structure, and also presenting critical responses over the 400 years that the play has existed. I'll be looking more at performance history, varied approaches to staging. There'll be a visit involved from an artist that's involved in the local Berkshire production of the play this summer at Shakespeare and Company. And we'll also be doing some read aloud. Members in class will get a chance, if they'd like to read aloud from the text, because that just hearing the text aloud makes it come alive for us. We'll be using videos, breakout sessions, reading aloud, as I mentioned, and there will be an additional opportunity, if you are in the Berkshires, to hear a free talk at Shakespeare and Company on August 19th about the play, and also the opportunity to get discounted tickets to come to a performance in Lenox if you are local, or if you're not local, you should come and be local. And just one of my favorite comments about this play is from a website called Thug Notes. And it's the takeaway is that love is fickle and can make you act like a damn fool. So if you'd like to know how Shakespeare fleshes that out, I hope that you'll join us. But if you have to go hiking or dancing, we'll be crushed, but we'll understand. It's tough that those other 2 wonderful classes are happening at the same time. And Ron, I don't know if you want to add anything.
Ann, what time are we teaching?
10 o'clock on Tuesday mornings.
Okay, good. And
on Zoom.
I just to everyone, one of my favorite quotes about the play comes from an early diarist called Samuel Pepys, who said, "This is the silliest thing I ever saw in my life." There is that. I just finished, just retired from a 4 decades career teaching Shakespeare and other literature, and I might be a little bit pedantic, but Ann's going to keep me honest and liven things up if I give you too many details. But I'm really interested, and I think you might be interested in Shakespeare's interweaving of classical Greek and Roman traditions of comedy and folklore from medieval England and a range of cultural elements from different classes of society in the 1590s in England, and a good bit of fantasy as well. So it's a wonderful, fun play. I hope you'll join us.
Yes.
Thank you both so much. Next up is Shireen Nash.
Thank you, Carol. And hello, everybody. I just want to thank Steve Tobin for involving me in this session last year, and I think the year before, and it's called Hot Topics in Medicine. This year, it will be Tuesday afternoon, 2:30 to 4, and there's 6 sessions with 6 speakers. The first speaker is Dr. Ben Lipson, who is going to be talking to us about the new Alzheimer's drug, which just got FDA approval and is probably going to be paid for by Medicare. This is on July 18, and I also want to thank Ben because the next 3 speakers, or rather the next few speakers, he introduced me to them. And I'm very grateful because it's not easy to find speakers in the summer. July 25 is our next session, and that will be Gordon Josephson. And his talk is labeled Healthcare Update, and it will include the Affordable Care Act, a look back and forward. The next portion will be modifications in Medicare Part D, which is prescription drug coverage favoring beneficiaries. He's also going to talk about COVID, where are we now and where are we likely to be going? Then he will be talking about some of the dementia drugs. And finally, the slow death of the private practice in medicine. Following Gordon is Dr. Barry Sarvet, who is currently Chair of Psychiatry at Bay State Medical Center. And he is going to be talking, I will tell you more about him when I introduce him, but he's basically going to talk about advances in psychiatry, MDMA assisted psychotherapy for PTSD. For those of you who need some explanation, it's the use of ecstasy in psychotherapy for post-traumatic stress disorder. And he's going to enlighten us and see how this can be used. Following Barry is Dr. Lloyd Federer, who is currently, I believe, at Columbia, and he has written extensively for medical professionals, and he is going to be talking to us about the addiction solution, treating our dependence on opioids and other drugs. He has recommended several things for reading, including his book, which is The Addiction Solution, and I will repeat these when I introduce these speakers. Following Dr. Federer is a young man, Dr. Matthew Fadis. Matthew, before he went to med school, spent some time with me in pathology at Mercy Medical Center in Springfield. I thought he would go into pathology, but no, he decided that he would prefer to be a psychiatrist. So he is currently psychiatrist at the Mass General Hospital, and he also at Harvard University looking after the students. He's trained in child and adolescent psychiatry, and his program is self-injury in children and adolescents, and this should be very interesting. I guess the last speaker is me, and I am going to be talking to you about oncogenic infections, which has nothing to do with psychiatry. I just thought I'd close out on a different note, and it's essentially about viruses mainly, and a bacterium which can evolve to produce cancer in humans. So thank you. That will be our 6 sessions. I think it ends on August 22, and hope you will be there. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Shireen. The next course that we're going to hear about is Great Contemporary Violinists You May Actually See with Ken Stark. That's going to be in person at BCC on Wednesdays at 10 a.m. And I have something to read for Ken today. Sorry, I'm unable to join you today, but I wanted to share the nature of what we will be talking about in summer session 2. Last fall, we explored the lives and music of what many historians and musicians consider some of the greatest violinists of all time. But as we saw, there were so many. Time-wise, we only got up to the middle of the 20th century. So this semester, we will talk about and listen to the music of some great violinists that we may actually have the opportunity to enjoy live and in person. Some of them are household names and some are not, but so wonderful that they should be. Some of them have and will be at Tanglewood, and others we will hope will come in the future. As I have always done, I have a surprise for all at the first session and at the last session. Each participant will receive a compact disc with more music to take home and enjoy. This is not a bribe, just my way of thanking you for coming and for your support and participation with OLLI. So that's the word from Ken Stark. I'm sure it will be an excellent class. And next up is Susan Sacker.
Thank you so much. I am very happy to have been included by Steve Tobin in the presentation of the 5 weeks in which on Wednesdays from 2:30 to 4, we will be able to discuss various and topical aspects of our society and the politics that we all wrestle with from various perspectives. We have some speakers, each of whom you may know, very well credentialed. The first session will be on the 19th, and that will be led by Jeffrey Mann, who is an attorney we all may know from headlines. He's going to be discussing various aspects of the law. We have on the second session, the 26th, Peter Bloom, who is also someone that has, a great background that we all know, and he will be discussing a topic that is so of the moment, which is the issue of water aspects of water and what we're all wrestling with respect to that. We have next up Ed Lane, who will be doing a discussion on the economics that we're all wrestling with today and looking at what's going on in the current events that is so perplexing. And then those all will be held on Zoom. But then we do have 2 sessions being led by Michael Feldberg. Michael will be speaking on his first session, which is the 9th of August, about police accountability and crime. He is handling his sessions in a hybrid manner, so you can visit on Zoom or be in person, which I think is something that he very much appreciates because he loves feedback at the college. And then on the 9th, his second one, which is going to be on the 16th, is addressing an interesting, very interesting topic. It's kind of a broad view of religion and politics in America, which he has deemed a mixed marriage. So those are our offerings. Again, they're on Wednesday from 2:30 to 4. The initial ones are on Zoom exclusively, and the last 2 are hybrid. So we look forward to seeing all of you at these meetings. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Next, we have Will Singleton, who wasn't able to be here today. His course is titled Reconstruction After the U.S. Civil War. That will be on Thursdays at 2:30 p.m. on Zoom, and they're going to meet for 5 sessions. And I'm just going to read a little bit about the class for you. The course will cover the Reconstruction period in the United States from 1863 to 1877. We will examine presidential Reconstruction, congressional and radical Reconstruction, social and economic factors of Reconstruction, ending Reconstruction, and the legacy of Reconstruction. Will Singleton has a doctorate in education from New York University. Will is a retired educator and former superintendent of schools from Nassau County, New York, is past president of the NAACP Berkshire County branch and former board member of OLLI at BCC. I know it's going to be a great class. Next up, we have Bill Wooters.
Well, thank you, Carol, and hello, everybody. So this course is called Gravity. It's a Zoom course. It meets on Fridays at 10 as 6 sessions. And here I have a couple of tennis balls. And I brought them here to just tell you about what would happen if you take these 2 tennis balls and put them far out in outer space, far away from any stars or planets or anything. So you just set them very carefully out there in outer space, let go of them, and just wait and watch what they do. And the amazing thing is that they slowly start moving towards each other. And after about, a couple of days, maybe they'll meet. And this is what the force we call the force of gravity. Every object in the universe attracts every other object in the universe by gravity. It has nothing to do with electric charge, has nothing to do with magnetism. It's universal. And it's the subject of this course. In the history of physics, there have been 2 great theories of gravity. There's Newton's theory of gravity. It was Newton who first realized that everything attracts everything else. It's quite an insight. That's from the 17th century. But then there's also Einstein's theory of gravity from the early 20th century. The course will cover both, but it will focus mostly on Einstein's theory, which is called general relativity. It explains this effect in terms of curved space-time. And that sounds like a mouthful, but we can understand it. We'll certainly talk about that and explain what it means. In fact, it's not really so much the curved space, it's really the time part that causes this effect, and also that causes this effect, right? When we drop something, it's because the Earth is distorting the time around it. We'll talk about all of that. We'll also talk about some of the hot topics in gravity these days. One is dark matter. We think there's dark matter pretty much everywhere in the universe. We think it's there because we can see its gravitational effect on other matter, on regular matter. but we have no clue. No one knows what it is. Seems to be out there. We don't know what it is. So we'll talk about that. We'll also talk about gravitational waves. Gravitational waves are part of Einstein's theory from 1915, but they weren't actually observed directly until 2015, so 100 years later. So we'll talk about that, and that's ongoing research, exciting stuff. And we'll also talk about the effort to put gravity together with the other great theory of contemporary physics, which is quantum theory. Those two theories are both fundamental, as fundamental as you can get, but they have not been brought together, and they seem to contradict each other. It's an interesting problem. We'll talk about that too. And this is a non-mathematical course. I love pictures, so I try to explain things in pictures. I love hearing questions and trying to answer them, not always knowing the answer, but trying. So this is a course for everybody, and I hope you'll come. Thanks.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. And then last but not least, we have Science Conversations with Hank Gold. Hank is traveling right now and has a little bit of spotty internet, so I'm going to read this for him. The Science Conversations will meet on Fridays at 1:30 p.m. on Zoom. So that's a slightly different start time than some of our other afternoon classes in this session, just as a heads up. And they'll meet for 6 weeks. Join us to discuss science news appearing in the Tuesday Science Times section of the New York Times, plus magazines and journals. Moderators for the sessions will encourage a vigorous give and take. Student suggestions for discussion topics and additional readings are welcomed. The moderator is Dr. Hank Gold, a retired radiologist with wide-ranging interests. He holds an MD from Rush Medical College and an undergraduate degree in biology from Columbia. And in our Science Conversations, folks tend to have a great time together. I hope if that's of interest to you that you will sign up. So I'm going to pause here. We've had a chance to hear from all of our instructors. It's going to be a great semester. Thank you so much to all of you and for the folks who put this semester together. If there's any questions in the chat, now's your chance to get them in. So I'm going to give just a minute of vamping while we make sure that we've answered everybody's questions. But I think we're good. Okay, great. So we're going to give you back a half an hour in your afternoon today. I encourage you, if you're up here in the Berkshires, to maybe go out and see some sunshine. It's a real treat. And thank you again to all of our instructors. I'm looking forward to a great semester. Be well, everybody. Take care.